Dave, congratulations, a terrific turnaround in that second half. That feels like a big result, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels really good, and thoroughly deserved in terms of what we've had to, I suppose, pull up with and go through over the first part of the season. Lots of disappointment, lots of low shots, if you like, where we cost ourselves points. So to go through what we did in the first half and the players to show the character and personality they did in the second half to go and get ourselves in front and see the game out is massively pleasing and massively deserved.
Yeah, and questions will have been asked at half time. You never really got going in that first half. What was the message from you? Because it certainly got the reaction that you wanted in the second half.
Listen, first half, were we happy? No, we weren't. And maybe we weren't happy because of the goal we conceded again, and that brings the frustration. Today was always going to be tough because of the climate, because of the way the weather was. I was there in the interview. I imagine a lot of the players would be really keen on playing abroad, or maybe going to Saudi that jumps in, and maybe they'd be less keen after playing in today's temperatures. So there was going to be frustration. We wanted to be patient at times because we thought controlling the ball would give us a better chance of seeing the game and being strong at the back end of the game. I thought we controlled the game well in the first half, but the tempo in our middle third and defensive third was exactly the same as the final third. And when we played through their lines and got a Crosby on the ball, or got a Nick on the ball, or Sars or Will, we then needed to increase the tempo. We didn't. And then when they did go and press and we got them out of shape, we then needed to play forward passes, and we didn't. We slowed the ball down. So we got it wrong in terms of the increase in tempo to get yourself opportunities in the final third. Otherwise, it becomes too early, too easy to defend. Once you then combine that with conceding a poor goal, we needed to get him in at half time and try and mix things up, just get him an understanding of what we wanted. Second half, I thought we were a little bit direct in the first 10 minutes of it. Probably largely due to players more than anything else, wanting to get up and we wanted to make a game of it and be on the front foot. Still felt we could play with the personnel we got on the pitch. We almost do them a disservice if we don't get in the ball in good areas. But importantly, we defended a corner and we counter-attacked, and that's a drill that we do pretty much every week, 3v2 counter-attacks. Tanto's done absolutely brilliant and laid it on a plate for Louis, and it's another brilliant finish. And then straight away you can visually see players lift and visually see that belief and confidence come back. You then go and get a second goal and it shoots again. We play a great move then down the far side of good passing, and Tanto gets in and gets an opportunity. Tanto gets another opportunity down this side where he should shoot, and you see it come flooding back. The hard bit then, as the game progresses and you're still looking to go and get that next goal, is at what point does that belief of going and getting a third goal become, well, hang on a minute, we're 2-1 in front here, when do we hang on to what we've got? And we wanted to try not to be in that scenario, but credit to them, when the ball was chucked on them, they dealt with things, and we've had to go really deep there in terms of physically to get ourselves a massive 3 points, and we have to use that as a springboard.
The introduction of Aki Wright seemed to help as well, just shore things up a little bit down that right hand side, and there was the performance of Maka, who hasn't played for a while but putting a real shift down that right hand side to get 90 minutes out of him as well.
Yeah, listen, I think Alfie was Alfie was struggling from that whack in the first half. We asked him at half time if he was okay, and he said he felt okay. He didn't look right, so we had to obviously make that change. Not ideal, making a change 5 minutes into the second half, but it's on the back of a goal, which is a positive. Maka was a risk today, but he's trained and he's done some contact stuff, but it was a risk that we spoke with him about, and he wanted to be involved. We are, like I say, absolutely bare bones. We were bare bones travelling here, and after yesterday we're even further bare bones. So for him to not just complete the 90 minutes, deal with Noiville, deal with Sasu when he came on, in terms of one of their big threats in terms of how they go about it, absolutely brilliant. Hopefully no ill effects. Thankfully no major contacts in terms of duels that he went into and it come out on the wrong side of, and now we have to wrap them all up really and make sure we're ready to go to another tough play tour next weekend.
You talk about the low blows that you've had. 10 players unavailable today. Obviously, your skippers had to go home and leave the camp pretty late on in the day. From a psychological point of view, I suppose that can potentially be difficult. It can be easy to feel a bit sorry for yourself, but players look that way. They responded differently.
Listen, sometimes you have to use things as motivation. Spoke about before the game, spoke about adversity, and you look at where we are now. We have 6 players out with knee injuries, all completely innocuous knee injuries that are, in most instances, pretty serious. Some instances very serious. We then have Paddy has to rush back home, like say late last night. An emergency at home in terms of newborn being taken into hospital, and fingers crossed everything's fine there. And then I suppose you sum things up this weekend with a player going away on international duty and being involved in 40 miles from a massive earthquake that's cost lots of people their lives, and he's in a hotel that's at 11 o'clock last night that's shaking like no one's business.
He's okay though?
Yeah, he's fine. Spoke to me this morning. Again, they don't know what will be the situation with the game. You wouldn't imagine it would go ahead, but first and foremost, like I say, from our perspective, a selfish perspective, he's fine. Obviously, there's been lots and lots of people that aren't fine, and that's a horrible tragedy. And that probably sort of sums up a little bit where we're at. And you go one of two ways, don't you? You either look for those excuses, and you look for woe is us. And we spoke about a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, and we're big on accepting them challenges and trying to use them as motivation to people in far worse situations than what we are, having lost a few games of football. The difficult thing is that it's our lives, football, so large parts of your week are dictated by what happens today. And thankfully today, we go home really happy. We will enjoy the trip home. We'll enjoy our weekends. The players will enjoy a day off Monday, which they thoroughly deserved, and we'll be back at it Tuesday, going to MK Dons, looking to back up what we've done today.
From a tactical point of view, you obviously lined up with a back four for the first time this season. Was that as a result of the injuries that you've had? Was it something that was already planned anyway? A bit of both?
Yeah, a bit of both. We look at things. I think we ended up. After 5 minutes of last weekend, we ended up with a back four with Noilly going out, and we became a back four with what we brought on, and actually shifted around to full back. These, in terms of how they play, probably showed us complemented us in terms of the team selection to start with. So normally there'll be 4-4-2 with Bugiel playing up off Davison or Hamady out the opposite way. They put another midfielder in there to start with, but they still keep their wingers wide, and we didn't want to be in a situation where we were penned back as a 5. So wanted to go and be a 4, if you like, and have Crosby in front, and our back 4 plus Crosby deal with their front 4, and our full backs try and give them a threat going the other way. Obviously Ryan Rydell would have been in the team, and Ethan would have been at left side centre back. You then get the injury to Ryan right at the last bit of training yesterday, and after make a decision in terms of how you go, we chose to bring Alfie in and shift Ethan out to full back. We want to try and get our most attacking players, if you like, in the middle of the pitch and get them on the ball. We've gone from being a very functional, organised system with players that know their roles to probably the flip of that a little bit. We know what, even regardless of the system, whether 3 or 5 back, whatever you want to call it, and a deep line midfield player, they're I suppose the detail for them is around structure, is around providing opportunities and situations for the other 4 or 5 to go and hurt them. When you've got a Powell, Sarcevic, Collar, Louis Barry, Tanto, Paddy when he's in around, Odin Bailey in terms of the type of player he is, then the freedom you can give them is their strength. They pop up in areas that are good enough and clever enough players to go and affect the game. So it has taken a bit of getting used to, and probably other players in and around that need to react off what they do, and what they do is not always, well, it's very rarely predictable in terms of the areas they find themselves in. So there has been a little bit of transition with that, but it gives us threats, it causes teams problems. There's a little bit of uncertainty around where people might find themselves, and thankfully today it's worked out for us, because listen, we could have been stood here having not turned it round in the second half, talking on the back of an error that's cost us a goal and cost us a game. That's not the case. We have to use that as real motivation. Great on it to go home on a Saturday, enjoy a long trip back. Great to be able to go up to the supporters at the end and celebrate, not feeling guilty or going and thanking them and not feeling horrible. And it's been a little bit of time.
How big a goal was that for Will Cullen?
Yeah, listen, there's no better, from our perspective, no better view than watching him arrive in the middle of the box as the ball was about to be crossed. He should have scored previously. He could have had 3 goals in his his 2 sub appearances that he started with. And he's become renowned for that and that finish. He's owed me one, so I'm glad he's got one, and we have to use that now, like we did in Louis' case. The first one hopefully becomes the start of a run for him, because he got and built a reputation over the past 18 to 20 months based on that midfielder that can arrive in a box and scores goals, and he's not had the opportunity to do that because of, again, taken away because of injury. So if we can get that back, then, like I say, he becomes a brilliant player, a really, really important player for us, but also puts himself back on the map in terms of saying to people, I'm still here, I'm still able to do what I did prior to my injury, I'm still getting back to my real full fitness, and I'm adding goals back to my game as well.
Just finally looking forward now, you feel like this is a big win for confidence, and I guess now the message is to use this as a springboard moving forward.
Yeah, that was the message before the game, and using those, like you say, those bits of adversity to try and not so much get a reaction, to try and just get things going. Like I say, momentum's massive in football. We know that from our own personal experiences through what happened last year in terms of winning games of football, and they roll on to the next, and the weeks take care of themselves in terms of what that looks like, and it's almost like play, win, rest, repeat type thing, and you want to get into that rhythm. Yeah, there are going to be some bumps in the road along the way. We understand the expectation, and we understand what's required of us in terms of people will still think that we're favourites to win the league and all that. We ultimately have to get started and get started and build. And last season we had to do it, and we had to build from a lower level, to be fair, to get to where we were. A little bit different this year, and hopefully now it's the start of, like I say, a run that we can put together. A brilliant away performance, a brilliant away win. Doesn't come tougher than it will in our next 2 games, certainly away from home and then home the week after. But they're great games to be involved in, and hopefully the first of many 3 points, or first away 3 points of the season.
Well done.
Cheers, thank you.